Imagine trying to build a pipeline, not across land, not through a construction site, but hundreds of meters beneath the surface of the ocean. There is no road beneath the workers' feet, no crane standing on solid ground, and no room for error. Instead, the entire operation must be carried out from a vessel moving on the surface, while thousands of tons of steel are assembled, welded, inspected, and gradually lowered toward the seabed. This is where a vessel, like the Sapura 3500, enters the story. At more than 156 meters long and almost 45 meters wide, the Sapura 3500 is not simply a ship. It is a floating offshore construction facility. Designed as a self-propelled heavy-lift pipelay vessel, it combines several capabilities that would normally require an entire construction spread. At the heart of the vessel is its enormous 3,500 metric ton crane. But the crane is only one part of the machine. The vessel also carries a sophisticated pipelay system, a dedicated pipe fabrication area, powerful tensioning equipment, and a DP3 dynamic positioning system designed to help maintain the vessel's position during offshore operations. And that positioning capability is critical, because when kilometers of pipeline are hanging from a moving vessel, even a relatively small change in vessel position can affect the geometry and stresses in the pipe. The vessel, therefore, has to maintain precise control while the pipeline is continuously being constructed and deployed. But before the first section of pipe touches the ocean, the real work has already begun. Individual pipe joints arrive on deck. They are moved into position, aligned, and prepared for welding. One joint becomes another, then another and another. Slowly, a series of individual steel sections becomes a continuous pipeline. The Sapura 3500's design places the single joint firing line below the main deck. This arrangement provides a controlled working environment for the pipelay operation, while keeping the main deck available for other heavy lift activities. But the most remarkable part of the process is still ahead, because this pipeline is not simply pushed over the side of the vessel. It is carefully supported, controlled, and guided through the vessel's S-lay system. As the vessel moves along the planned pipeline route, the completed pipe travels toward the stern and begins its journey into the sea. At the surface, it may look almost effortless, but beneath the waves, the pipeline is following a carefully engineered curve. Its weight is enormous. The water depth can be hundreds of meters. Ocean currents can act on the pipe. The vessel can experience wind and waves, and the pipeline itself must remain within carefully calculated limits. This is why offshore pipelaying is as much about engineering control as it is about welding steel. Every section matters. Every weld matters, every movement of the vessel matters, and every meter of pipeline laid brings the operation closer to its final destination. The Sapura 3500 was built for precisely this kind of challenge. A vessel capable of bringing fabrication, heavy lifting, positioning, and pipeline installation together in one offshore operation. But how does a simple steel pipe arrive on deck as separate sections and leave the vessel as a continuous pipeline, disappearing into the deep? To understand that, we need to go inside the firing line, where the pipeline is actually created. Before the pipeline ever touches the ocean, it has to be built, and on board the Sapura 3500, that process happens continuously. Thousands of individual pipe joints may arrive as separate sections of steel, but the pipeline required on the seabed cannot be installed as separate pieces. They have to become one continuous string. This is the job of the firing line. Inside this dedicated working area, pipe joints are transferred into position and carefully aligned. The process begins with precision. Two sections of pipe must meet accurately, because the quality of every connection will ultimately affect the integrity of the finished pipeline. Once the joints are aligned, highly trained welding crews begin joining them together. The welding process is performed under controlled conditions, with qualified welders working through carefully defined procedures. But welding the pipe is only the beginning. Every weld becomes a potential point that must be verified, so the newly completed joint moves through inspection and quality control stages. Non-destructive testing techniques can be used to examine the weld without destroying the pipe, looking for imperfections that could compromise its integrity. If a weld does not meet the required acceptance criteria, it cannot simply continue down the firing line. It has to be addressed before the pipeline moves toward the water. Once the weld has passed inspection, the joint can proceed to the next stage. Depending on the pipeline design, the joint may also require field joint coating or other protective treatment. This protects the exposed connection and helps maintain the pipeline's overall corrosion protection system. Now, the separate pipe sections are becoming something much larger. One weld, then another, then another. The pipeline continues moving through the firing line, but there is a problem. The longer the pipeline becomes, the heavier it becomes. And eventually, a tremendous length of steel will be suspended between the vessel and the seabed. That weight has to be controlled. This is where the tensioners become critical. The tensioners grip the pipeline and control its movement as it leaves the vessel. They help support the suspended pipe, maintain the required tension, and control the shape of the pipeline as it travels toward the seabed. Too little control, and the pipeline can experience excessive curvature or instability. Too much tension and unnecessary loads can be introduced into the system. The operation therefore becomes a continuous engineering calculation: pipe movement, vessel position, tension, water depth, pipeline weight, seabed location. All of these factors have to work together. And the remarkable part is that this doesn't happen once, it happens repeatedly. A new pipe joint enters the firing line, is aligned, welded, inspected, protected, and incorporated into the growing pipeline. The vessel continues moving along the planned route, while the pipeline gradually leaves the ship. On the surface, it may look like a simple sequence, but underneath, the pipe is forming a carefully controlled curve through the water. This is the principle behind S-lay. The pipeline leaves the vessel, travels downward through the water, and eventually reaches the seabed. Its shape resembles a giant S at the vessel. The upper curve is controlled by the lay equipment and stinger. Further down, the suspended pipeline forms its sag bend before reaching the seabed. Every meter added to the pipeline changes the engineering conditions, and that means the crew cannot simply weld pipe and forget about it. They have to monitor the entire operation continuously, because once the pipeline begins its journey toward the seabed, there is no room for improvisation. The steel has been transformed from individual sections into one continuous structure, and now it is ready for the most difficult part of the journey: leaving the vessel and descending into the deep ocean. The pipeline has now become one continuous string of steel, but the hardest part is still ahead. It has to leave the vessel, cross the water column, and reach the seabed without exceeding the limits established by the engineers. At the stern of the Sapura 3500, the pipeline approaches the lay system. This is where the vessel's S-lay operation becomes visible. The pipe is supported as it travels over the stinger, a long articulated structure extending from the stern of the vessel. The stinger helps control the pipe as it leaves the ship, guiding it through the initial bend before it enters the water. But the pipeline is now carrying its own enormous weight, and that weight creates forces throughout the suspended section. This is why tension control is so important. The Sapura 3500 is equipped with 3 130-ton tensioners, giving the pipelay system substantial capacity to control the pipeline during installation. The tensioners grip the pipe, supporting it as it moves continuously toward the sea. The vessel itself must also maintain its planned position. The Sapura 3500 uses a DP3 dynamic positioning system for deep-water operations. Its positioning computers continuously process information from navigation and reference systems, while the vessel's propulsion and thrusters make the necessary corrections. The objective is simple: keep the vessel where the engineering plan says it should be. But hundreds of meters below, the pipeline is following a completely different path. As the pipe leaves the stinger, it begins to curve downward through the water. This upper curve is known as the overbend. Farther down, the pipeline forms another curve as it approaches the seabed. This is the sag bend. Between these two regions, the suspended pipeline is carrying enormous loads. Its weight, its buoyancy, the tension applied from the vessel, the effects of currents, and the geometry created by the water depth all influence the shape of the pipe. This is why offshore pipelaying cannot simply be controlled by looking over the side of the vessel. Engineers have to understand what is happening throughout the entire suspended pipeline. Computer models and engineering calculations are used before and during operations to determine whether the planned installation remains within acceptable limits. Even the condition of the sea matters. Wind, waves, current, and vessel motion can all affect the operation. If conditions become unsuitable, the pipelay operation may have to slow down or stop, because the objective is not simply to put the pipe on the seabed, it is to put it there, without damaging the pipeline, without overstressing the pipe, and without losing control of the installation. And eventually, after traveling through hundreds of meters of water, the pipeline reaches the moment engineers have been calculating from the beginning. Touchdown. The point where the pipeline finally meets the seabed. From the vessel, the operation continues. A new pipe joint enters the firing line. Another weld is completed. Another section passes inspection, and another length of pipeline disappears beneath the ocean. Meter by meter, the pipeline extends across the seabed. What began as individual pieces of steel on the deck is now becoming a permanent part of the offshore infrastructure, but reaching the seabed is not the end. The pipeline still has to be connected, positioned, inspected, and prepared for its final service. And that brings us to the final stage, where the pipeline becomes part of the offshore field itself. After hundreds of meters of descent, the pipeline has finally reached the seabed, but the installation is not finished. A pipeline lying on the ocean floor is only one part of a much larger offshore system. Now the subsea team has to confirm exactly where the pipeline has landed and whether it has been installed according to the engineering plan. This is where remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, become essential. From the surface, operators control these underwater vehicles while watching live video from cameras mounted on the ROV. They can inspect the pipeline, observe the seabed, monitor crossings, and verify critical installation points. In some operations, ROVs can also support positioning and construction activities around subsea equipment. The objective is simple: know exactly where the pipeline is and confirm that the installation has been completed as designed. But the pipeline still needs to become part of the offshore production system. At the end of the line, a connection must be made to existing subsea or platform infrastructure. This may involve specially engineered components such as a PLET, a pipeline end termination, or a subsea spool and tie-in system. These components provide the transition between the newly installed pipeline and the equipment already waiting on the seabed. Making that connection underwater is a precision operation. The subsea equipment must be correctly positioned, aligned, and connected. In some installations, ROVs provide the eyes and hands needed to complete the work. Once the physical connections are complete, the pipeline still cannot immediately begin transporting hydrocarbons. It has to be checked. The completed system must undergo inspection and appropriate pre-commissioning activities. Depending on the project design, this can include activities such as cleaning, gauging, flooding, pressure testing, and other integrity verification procedures. Every stage has a purpose. The objective is to demonstrate that the pipeline is ready for its intended service. Think about what has happened. A pipe joint arrived on the deck of the vessel as a separate piece of steel. It was aligned, welded, inspected, and incorporated into the growing pipeline. Then, meter by meter, the pipeline traveled through the firing line, over the lay system, down through the water, and onto the seabed. Now, that same continuous pipeline is connected to the offshore field. A documented Sapura 3,500 project gives us a real sense of the scale involved. An approximately 18-kilometer pipeline was welded on board the vessel and subsequently lowered to around 300 meters below sea level. That is kilometers of steel, assembled offshore and installed beneath the ocean. And once the final checks are complete, the vessel's job begins to come to an end. The Sapura 3500 can move on to its next assignment, while the pipeline remains behind, quietly resting on the seabed. Years from now, ships may pass above it without ever knowing it is there. But beneath those waves, that pipeline can become a critical link between offshore facilities, subsea infrastructure, and the energy systems connected to shore. This is what offshore pipelaying really represents. It is not simply putting a pipe into the ocean. It is a carefully engineered sequence of fabrication, welding, inspection, positioning, installation, subsea connection, and testing. All carried out hundreds of meters above and sometimes hundreds of meters below the ocean. And the next time you see an offshore platform standing on the horizon, remember, some of its most important infrastructure may be completely invisible. Deep beneath the waves, a network of pipelines is carrying the energy that connects the offshore field together. And somewhere above it, a vessel like the Sapura 3500 has already completed the journey. One pipe joint, one weld, and 1 meter of seabed at a time.